Dear friends, I thank all Malaysians for your act of courage and loyalty to the nation. Pakatan Rakyat garnered 55,623,984 votes for the parliamentary constituencies that officially put us ahead of BN at 52% of the popular votes. Your vote demonstrated that we are united in a single Malaysian family. Preliminary analysis indicates the support for Pakatan Rakyat increased throughout the country across the board, especially with the younger voters irrespective of race. They voted for the symbolism of hope for a new Malaysia that Pakatan Rakyat represents. In the next few days, once a more complete analysis emerges, I am confident that we will be able to pinpoint specific anomalies to support our claim that the 13th general elections were marred with fraud and irregularities. The sentiment that Dato' Sri Najib, in cahoot with the Election Commission, has robbed the nation of its legitimate government resonates louder by the day. The momentum gets stronger throughout the country. I maintain that a clear and fair election is beyond ensuring an election from being marred with frauds and manipulation. It is about fighting for the future of our beloved nation, that fight will continue. A large number of Malaysians have joined hands to press for 8 simple demands to be met by the Election Commission to ensure clean and fair elections. None of this was met in spite of Dato' Sri Najib's and EC's public pronouncements. In fact, the EC could not implement a simple use of indelible ink, and the chairman fumbled miserably to provide a logical explanation for the failure. As of today, we continue to receive information that hundreds of police reports have been lodged across the country for the failure. It is therefore a dictate of our conscience to reject the election result until it is rectified and a reasonable justification is provided by the EC. A team headed by Saudara Rafiz Ramli has begun work to gather all the information and proof of fraud and irregularities reported across the country. His team will match the proof against an empirical analysis of the specific constituency result to highlight the constituencies whose result is in dispute. We shall work closely with the People's Tribunal set up by Bersih and similar teams from DAP and PAS. In the meantime, I call upon Malaysians to wear black or use any black insignia as a mark of protest against the fraud. I shall address fellow Malaysians tomorrow at Jaya Stadium at 8:30 p.m. fully dressed in black. This shall be a beginning for a fierce movement to clean this country from election practices and fraud. For there is no opportunity for renewal without a clean and fair elections.
There is some confusion and concern amid reports that you said previously that this is going to may not continue all this elections. Would you calm them down and simply say that your job is not done until it's just
The context was in a free, fair elections, and the Rakyat chose or decide to choose BN, then I would concede. In a faulty, fraudulent elections, we have compelling evidence to support that argument. I now will continue the fight to defend the rights of all Malaysians. Saya tahu akan dipermainkan oleh kucu-kucu UMNO bahawa saya mengatakan saya akan mundur. Sebaik rakyat memutuskan dalam pilihan raya yang bersih dan adil. Masalahnya sekarang pilihan raya penuh dengan kecurangan, dengan penipuan, dengan penyertaan orang asing. Saudara, pilihan ini pilihan raya rakyat Malaysia, bukan warga asing. Dan kedua, kecurangan senjata ditapah secara sekarang teliti dengan Suruhanjaya Pilihan Raya dan dengan kerjasama pasukan polis memantau kita. Dan malam itu dikeluarkan. Dan ini keterangan-keterangan yang kita berikan. Oleh demikian saya putuskan saya akan tetap bersama rakyat untuk memastikan pilihan keputusan yang adil dan sah dan menolak kecurangan dan menolak pimpinan yang tidak sah dalam Barisan Nasional sekarang. No, just to use that evidence, for example, in our Fizi, to supply me with the detailed information. Say, for example, Pandan, which I said was one of the targeted areas to defeat our candidate. Suspected phantom voters caught. Police report lodged. One family woke up to realize that 4 different people unknown to them has been registered at the address. The other is an Indian voter who realized 2 Chinese voters registered at his address. Second, 4 suspected phantom voters did turn up to vote. When our agent objected, they left the voting center at Sekolah Rendah Agama Kafah Taman Daga. At Ceras Indah, SPR officer instructed counting agents to sign black form 14 even before counting began. And this is in Pandan, man. In Pandan, can you imagine this trend with complicity of SPR officers? When discovered, of course, they protested, and finally, the person from the secretariat went and tore the unsigned papers. This is to supply you some example of this.
Why will you still remain an opposition leader even though GAP won more seats than PKR?
That matter actually technically does not arise because now we are questioning the results of the elections. Okay, number 1. Number 2, unlike the UMNO thinking or MCA mindset, the spirit of operation within the Pakatan is strong. And I made even in 2008 when we had this frog leaping, jumping out of Pakatan, Keadilan, even suggested Kit Siang take over. The consensus was that for me to take over. Even this, after these elections, I've already indicated to Kit Siang that I'm not keen to continue as opposition leader. They made it very clear that I should. I've not made my decision yet because I think my focus now is to ensure that we reject this fraudulent process of elections.
What do you think PKR did not do as well as it should have been illegal?
You have not been listening to what we have been saying about fraud.
Can you tell us about how things stand at the moment? You've made reports to the EC, Rafiz is collecting all the stuff. Are you looking at legal action? Can you just briefly tell us where you're at exactly in protesting this stuff?
We understand the system, how the system works. What Tanayat talks about is a reform of the entire system, including the judiciary, election process, election courts. So I think we're not talking purely petition in courts. We are talking about demanding a full explanation from EC, giving proof. How do you get the court to intervene? We say 240,000 early voters. We don't know whom they vote. There was no monitoring. They were we were told, like in Kuantan, that we are able to monitor the boxes in the custody of the police. The police officer said it is under our purview and you cannot enter. Alright? So for 4 days the boxes are there. You may trust these people like saints? you have crooks and corrupt people managing, and you want us to accept that readily. We cannot compromise with the need for fair election results.
Sir, sorry, just want to check. Yesterday, DAP advisor has voiced his support for you. Whether you're opposition leader or PM, you're back. They say you'll support you all the way. So, any comments on that matter?
Yeah, thank Ustaz Hadi and Kit Siang for their sentiments and support. I mean, that's why I need to reiterate. It's not an issue within Pakatan. It's an issue within UMNO and MCA.
How do you compel
Sorry.
Can you guarantee that there won't be any protest? There won't be any marches? Can you guarantee that?
You can talk to the people, ask them to guarantee.
But your call is
My call is for a rally in Kelana Jaya tomorrow night.
That's a rally
Yes,
in the stadium.
yes. Yeah,
How
sorry.
do you talk about wanting to issue explanation and all that, but how do you compel them to do it? They've already stressed that it's a fair election and also the government. So where do you stand now? There's a deadlock now. And, how do you see this moving forward really? I mean, that you don't recognize the
So can I add to the question
how do
also?
you move?
Could I add
No,
also?
let finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to, I mean, there's just a lot of uncertainty now about how you're going to move forward from here. And you know, I mean, the only value that we can see is the legal avenue, but you say you don't trust the system, so how? Can you just shed some?
Yeah, adding to that, I mean, if you do not use the legal avenue, seems what she said, but the point is there any way legally for you to do this? Thank you.
I'm not saying that we are not going through the court process. It's not only the issue of trusting the court, but we know the law. The law is crafted to defend even the excesses of the EC, because the court is bound by the law. All right? But we are looking at it, let the legal team look at it. We have a team of 15, 16 lawyers just looking at it, what needs to be done. But it's beyond the courts. I mean, you steal the elections and you say go to the court. Yeah. I mean, the stealing cannot happen without the involvement of government leaders. And of course, the complicity in the crime by the EC. Of course, your question is relevant. How do you expect the criminals to come up with a proper explanation? Okay. You know, you talk about, you show them this bungalow. You say, well, never mind, they have a IC. Now, that means there is this complicity with another department. Okay. And then we say, what? Why do you give 10 these addresses without people there? Well, you know, that's how they register. I mean, it's such flimsy sort of report. I mean, the event could happen to me from Batam Pau. We can imagine the rest, and Pandan. But it's of course minimum compared to the targeted areas. How do you expect the result in Tapa? When the candidate was asked to get out, when his representative cannot be there during the counting. This is ridiculous. We have video, we have photographs of the incident. You look at what I showed the other night. So I think to ask Malaysians, except for the, core UMNO supporters and some of their lackeys, people generally know that. You know the public sentiment expressed throughout the country. I mean, people are just, it's their decision. How can you just ignore this huge public sentiment? I mean, what they could not, despite all these conflicts, they could not even erase the fact that we garner majority of the public support.
Datuk Sri, what's going to happen during the Masa Parliament Sidang though?
Yes.
Because if you don't recognize the results of the election, are you all going to sit in Parliament, or is there going to be everyone going to Parliament to take their seats? Are they all going to be dressed in black?
Thank you.
What's happening?
that's why I said the question of opposition leaders is not quite relevant for now. But the questions, of course, why did you then accept the results in the state? Of course, governments have to continue, all right? And the Barisan Nasional can have every reason to object some of the results in the states. But the problem with the Election Commission working in cahoot with the Barisan Nasional, so I think they will have to continue. That's why we are confining to specific areas where we have evidence to support. Although the floor is of course nationwide, but then we will focus on the seats which we think are contentious in terms of the principles or the rules or the law being compromised.
So Mr. Parliament President, the MPs will take their seats.
We will deal with it later. Yeah.
Can you comment about today Utusan front page upper lagi China mall? Can you comment on that?
Pardon?
Utusan Malaysia front page is the upper lagi China mall.
Yeah. No, dia hanya ikut arahan Datuk Najib. Sebab pertama, utusan itu surat khabar UMNO. Kedua, saya tahu sebab masa saya timbalan Presiden UMNO itu punyai pegawai yang boleh beri arahan harian kepada UMNO. Dan ini juga saya sebut dalam mahkamah dalam memberi saman UMNO dan fitnah utusan yang berlaku harian. Dalam kes ini, Datuk Seri Najib menyebut tentang rekonsiliasi. Satu yang saya sambut secara positif, semangat baik. Tetapi dalam masa yang sama dia sebut tsunami Cina yang saya tolak. Kita tidak boleh gunakan ini untuk menghangatkan suasana kau. Di Kelantan tu Cina mana yang sokong PAS? Bukan isu Cina. Mana saya menang ni semua undi Cina. Maka saya akan dapat 25% undi di Permata Ampang. Jadi ini satu yang permainan sentimen, dan ini malangnya disahkan ya dengan restu pemimpin UMNO, termasuk media UMNO. Ya. Sebab itu saya kata kita nak terima keputusan pilihan raya dengan sikap sedemikian. Kita terima sikap penipuan dengan pengesahan rasuah dan perkauman, penghinaan kepada kaum. Saya Melayu dan saya bangga, saya ulang. Walaupun saya dihukum sebagai kru Cina, pakai baju hitam bukan dia kata ini semangat Cina. Tapi saya nak beritahu kesilapan besar pemerintahan yang tidak sah sekarang ialah pertama, menipu dan pilihan raya, dan kedua, menggunakan sentimen kaum untuk menutup kecurangan mereka dan minta orang Melayu pertahankan kerajaan kerana yang perkauman ini Cina.
That's good. A related question, just about talking about the Chinese economy, etc. And MC aging really, really badly. Not that many Chinese candidates, even possibly in the cabinet when it does come up. And all the talks we had. How do you think this is going to affect race relations in the country going ahead?
It affects race relations within Barisan Nasional. You can be rest assured in Pakatan Rakyat and the sentiments I saw and observed throughout the campaign period. And now, the spirit, the true Malaysian spirit is there. It is absent within the ruling clique and establishment. So never suggest that there is no real spirit of harmony and unity among Malaysians. It is absent among the corrupt, oppressive regime.
Can I ask,
Sorry.
have you received any information or any feedback from the Prime Minister or from UMNO BN as to your PEC, as to your complaints on the electoral fraud? And with regards to national reconciliation, what would you say you welcome it. How, in what form should it be? I don't think we have ever come across this before. What sort of national reconciliation would the Pakatan be looking forward to from the Prime Minister?
Thus far, there is no response from Datuk Seri Najib nor the EC. The EC is completely muted, and I think as always they will just dismiss it as something irrelevant or the work of the opposition. On Datuk Seri Najib's statement, I've always taken, although when I was opposition leader, positively any positive remarks or indication about Najib. For example, when he said, let us conduct the campaign in a civil manner. I did welcome that. Although you know that he did not walk the talk because they were very vicious during the campaign and used the media to unrelentless attack on the opposition. And civil means everything right for them and not 1 minute of airtime for us during the entire period of campaign. But I still, for every positive statement must be given, reciprocated in a positive manner. Now we talked about reconciliation. I think any leader, when you talk about repentance to me or reconciliation, you can't expect me to say no. I mean, I certainly view it as a positive statement. But my response would be yes. I mean, I would welcome that spirit of getting everybody together, so there's peace, stability, we work together. But please make sure that you settle this fundamental, basic, timely issue now. That is, don't accept the results, particularly when we have ample evidence to support a case of robbery and stealing of the elections.
Dr. Sri, DAP has said that they are very happy with the results, and PAS has also sworn in the Kelantan MP. If you are going in this alone, I mean in this fight against this polls regularity?
No. I've discussed this extensively with Datuk Hadi, with Kit Siang. We are now working, the three parties working to identify and use evidence. We are forming a state government together, and I support it. Aziza represents the party now for the swearing in of Lim Guan Eng. It's not a question of not continuing. The government has to continue. You can't have a state in limbo. But we are questioning based on specific areas in question, and these areas are large enough, as you have seen from the popular vote, to question legitimacy of the federal government. Where UMNO or BN can adduce evidence to question legitimacy of the state if they think that Lim Guan Eng has failed to garner enough support in Petaling, then say so.
How many seats are in question?
Well, we're working on it now. Right now, 28, 29, there are 10 more coming. Tapah just came in with video and photographs.
Can I just check?
Sorry.
What are discussions going about the
It's okay. I mean, we've actually quite resolved that. But I think normally, as a courtesy, we do inform Tuanku Sultan first. But there is a consensus among the parties, no problem.
Can you reveal who?
I think just as a courtesy, we just have to mention to Tuanku Sultan.
Notwithstanding all these issues of fraud and irregularity, there appears to be a general swing of support to BN in rural areas among the rural Malays, and you've lost Kedah quite badly. So can you comment on this issue?
The specific some areas I concede. I mean, I'm no problem about conceding seats, which we are quite clear. I'm not saying every constituency, every vote is fraud. I mean, I went to vote. I don't think that vote is fraudulent. I mean, when I was there standing and where I saw everything in order, I thanked the election officials. But here is a question of half a million votes stuffed in earlier. I mean, can you accept this like that? All army personnel and police and early voters, election workers, media people, all of you support Barisan Nasional. If you tell me that, then okay, probably I was wrong. But people in the media says no. They say at least, they can say at least 60% with us. You know, it's interesting, you see the pattern in the voting pattern from Melbourne, London, and a few places, right? When they early voted by the students and staff. So they went and asked everyone how they voted. No, 70, 90% are with Pakatan Rakyat. But this trend never translated. When it comes here, you know, in the process, probably the, what you call osmosis or whatever, happened to these ballot papers, that they change the crossover to the other party. But that's what happened. And suddenly when it comes to result, 17%, 12%, you know, and that's how Sri lost. Yeah. We won comfortably, except when 12,000 postal early voters. You see, that's why from the word go is this deceitful, dirty attempt to mar the elections. First, army and police. Then, early voters, so-called workers for the elections, on the day of the election. Then, again, the third issue, media. You know, I mean, unless you tell me that 80% of the reporters are all with BN. Well, this seems to be very supportive of me anyway. Okay, thank you.
So could you just clarify this, Rick? This is the report that I just got. Could you clarify that, are you considering defeat? It's basically from the notes that I just got.
No. No. I mean, people are, pressing mood on Monday, you saw it. I'm sure I can see the people.
Dr. Sri,
I told you I'm going to fight.
you know, I mean, given the dynamics now and the different parties holding the different number of seats now, is this going to affect cooperation in Pakatan?
No, that's what I'm saying. This is the perception by those who are opposed to us. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. And I'm not giving a false impression. I'm on a daily basis in touch with the party leaders. And even in Selangor, it passed NDAP and Keadilan. Excellent. Why did Aziza, decide to climb to Penang? Because I happen to be MP from Penang. I thought, you know, it's already decent courtesy to show our support. I didn't attend in Kelantan. I don't think I will attend in Selangor for the matter. To show that that we are together. And Ustaz Hadi, for example, on his own volition, called and said, look, let us dissolve Selangor State and you deal with it. You know, there's no problem for Keadilan candidate for Selangor. I thought that was a very positive spirit, which well, we didn't make it public as such, but that was it. I was talking to him over the election, they said, no, this is our decision, our consensus, the Keadilan candidate, because PAS have a right to claim. In our, for example, sort of Pakatan Rakyat coalition, PAS has every right to claim the seat of membership. But in the spirit of Pakatan Rakyat, immediately they offered, they said, look, we can proceed, and then the details, let them discuss. Okay, fair. And so is this position of opposition leader. In fact, I have said to this young Mr. Hadi, probably better for me to remain focused on Pakatan Rakyat and you deal with these issues in Parliament, and particularly because I'm now questioning the issue of legitimacy. They insisted, but I said, look, and then let us now focus this issue first and leave the issue of opposition later date. Baik, terima kasih banyak. See you tomorrow night in black.
The police said that they have not been notified and the stadium management has not given permission about tomorrow's rally. Is that necessary?
I want to advise the police and the Tusim Najib, enough of this oppression. Please, for once, see the change in the mood of the people. Don't think that we should continue with this semi-authoritarian manner in treating people like fools and idiots. don't think the media should be treated like the manner Utusan is treating our people. They think the Malays are so gullible and fools to consider this all politics about the Chinese, and therefore you play that game. I'm here and I remain committed. I will defend the right of every single Malaysian, be it Malay, Chinese, Indian, Jaya or Kadazan.